Hey everybody, this is Mike, WX0MIK. First of all, before I start, my heart goes out to everyone who has been affected by, I forgot the hurricane name, that just slammed into Florida and made its way up into Alabama and Georgia. I've heard some people got hit pretty hard, and then others have fared fairly decent overall. And at least I've checked on a few of my friends. They are all okay. But I want to dive into what is ham radio's role in events like this. Now, if you're not aware, the FCC, as part of the building of the ham radio service, we are a service of the FCC, is to aid in emergency situations, communications, things like that. So, what does that mean as it relates to hurricanes? So, I'm not going to come off as being an expert here, because I am not. I have never helped with this. I'm in Minnesota. The worst thing we get is the occasional tornado, and that affects, a couple mile wide by a couple, at most a couple miles wide, but typically not even that. They're not even that big, and then maybe a couple miles long, because again, we don't get the big massive storms like the South does. We do get lots of blizzards, but that doesn't necessarily leave lots of destruction behind typically. So this is not something I'm practicing, but here's what I'm aware of. Here's what I understand. So first of all, there is something called the Hurricane Watch Net. The Hurricane Watch Net is an HF net that runs both on 20 meters and on 40 meters, depending on conditions, time of day, etc. And they have very specific assigned frequencies. I do not have them memorized off the top of my head because I don't do enough of them to kind of remember that. But so those are things that you can potentially listen to, like at work or at home, whatever, wherever you have a radio that you can, or radio, or even connection to the web SDR to take a listen. They are transmitting conditions, safety information, things like that. If you think about it, like when Puerto Rico got hit, the only communication coming out of that initially was ham radio, because we had our antennas, well, not we as in me, but ham radio operators had their antennas at the ready, their systems at the ready. All they had to do is quick throw them up after the storm passes, and hey, here's what's happening. Maybe some left them up in the storm as well, and then they're giving up-to-date information throughout while the hurricane is hitting. Same deal here in Florida. You can't get conditions very easily. You can't drive out there into the middle of the hurricane and find out, or at least you should not be. But the people who have stayed home, or people who are in emergency operations centers, things like that, they are providing constant updates, and then that information doesn't just go to some net control in some other state and doesn't do anything. No, that information gets relayed back to the National Hurricane Center, to FEMA, Red Cross. I think there's a few more organizations in there, but those are the big ones for real-time conditions, for planning, for staging, etc. They are also used at shelters, so they are using ham radio at shelters to make sure things are ready. Do you have needs? Is there medical emergencies? Things like that that may need to be handled immediately, that they can get that communication across. But that's not the only thing that they use. They are also using local communication. So they're using HTs, mobile radios. Florida is a really good one for that. They have built a statewide network of repeaters throughout the state. So I can, in normal times, be in let's say Miami, and I'm talking to someone in Tallahassee. I don't know how open that system is to that type of stuff, but in emergency communications, which is really where it was built for, It is RF backed, which means it never touches the internet. As long as the tower is up, you are able to communicate out to another area that's not affected by the hurricane, and that allows constant updates to flow that way as well. Again, all of this stuff is stuff I've heard from the YouTube videos, things like that. So if I'm not quite exactly right, please post in the comments down below, and or even Stitch or whatever to this video to give more information. So all of this information ultimately will end up with some sort of public safety, EOC, something that is actionable. Okay, I'm not sure where my video stopped recording. All of a sudden it just stopped recording. So ultimately, all of this information comes in to somewhere that's actionable. It is not just kept within the ham radio community and, nope, sorry, you don't know this. No, we are working directly with emergency people, all those entities that are out there to make sure that they are planned and ready to go and ready to roll. Now, that doesn't mean that ham radio is hanging out with, like, say, the linemen that are sitting there ready to roll as soon as they can get in. That does not mean that we are working with every single agency out there. It's a lot of it tends to be strategic places, and then those organizations are supposed to relay that information out to all the other agencies. So we're getting the information to FEMA. FEMA should be getting that out to the local sheriffs and police and etc. In theory. How it is in practice, I don't know, but this is a very organized, at least the Hurricane Watch Net, they are very organized. They do practices. This is not something that they just threw together for this particular storm. They practice, they make sure everything's working. They know what they're doing. So what about afterwards? Well, I presume, again, this is a place where I don't know, but I presume we still help establish some sort of communications across different teams, because in some cases there's no more infrastructure left, right? There's no cellular, there's no anything. So ham radio can come in and be that communications to help coordinate all these teams that are coming in to help recover, etc., to make sure that everyone's is being helped and getting the resources that they need as quickly as they can. So that is ham radio being a communications hobby. We are coming in on our own time, on our own dime, to help out all these people and to help protect people. This is the spirit of ham radio and why we push so hard that you should get licensed, you should do this, you should help with that. Because, you don't care about that stuff until you care about that stuff. And at that point, you're going to want that aid. You're going to want that assistance. So, I wanted to take this opportunity with the hurricane to kind of say, hey, this is a thing that we do. This is something that is important. And, even if you're not interested in that, consider and support your local ham radio, because they might be planning things like this and to support you in the future. So stay safe, everybody. I hope everyone is safe. I hope no major damage for most people. I haven't seen many videos. I know there will be destruction. But I hope for everyone watching this that you're safe and everyone is the best you can potentially be, or best case scenario for any storm damage and anything like that. And 7 threes.